All right, so we have spent, 3 weeks now talking about transformations, talking about graphing parabolas, the different types of equations for parabolas, standard form, vertex form, and just yesterday it was intercept form. So there's all these different ways to graph a parabola, and so we need to talk about transformations. That's where a parabola would, shift to the right 3 spaces and then down 1 space. And so the last time that we talked about transformations was 2 weeks ago. So let's kind of refresh our brains on what that is. All right, so let's recall what we've got. So vertex form, the first thing that you need to write down is the vertex form, the equation, because I don't know that you remember it. Looks like this. Oh, you know what I forgot? A in front. Okay, my H is going to be part of my vertex. Remember how the vertex is negative h comma k, where my h that's in parentheses, I use the opposite sign for my vertex. So h is going to be the opposite sign, so I'm going to write that down. And it's also how our graph will move right and left. That's the x coordinate of my vertex, which moves right or left. My k is going to be the same sign, but that's going to be the y coordinate of my vertex, and it is going to be, it has the ability to make my graph move up and down. It tells me how many up or how many down to go. A is how skinny or fat the parabola is. So a small number like 1/2, 1/4, they're going to be very fat. You guys ever seen that, PHET?
Oh, yeah.
It's like a way to, it's from like the 90s or whatever. I'm super old, whatever. Okay, I just aged myself. Whoops. All right. Then there's big numbers. 2, 3, 4. That's going to be super skinny. So it's actually opposite of what you think. If I have a fraction in front of my parentheses, like my A is a fraction, that means that I'm going to have a very wide graph. If I have a 2, a 3, a 4, then it will be skinny, 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 skinny. And a number like a 7. What if there was a 7 in front of the parentheses? That would be like,
big number.
like practically touching. The 2 parabola sides would be touching. So skinny. So this is important to keep in mind. This is going to be on top of your paper, so you can constantly be referring to it. So I'm going to do example 1 first. Okay, number 1. The directions say, write an equation for the graph of y equals x squared. Okay, here's what y equals x squared looks like, just FYI. It's just a basic parabola with my vertex at 0, 0, right in the middle, normal, not too skinny, not too fat, just kind of normal, whatever. Now, what we need to practice doing is moving. So on number 1, it says 3 units to the left and 2 units up. This is what it would look like if it were 3 units to the left and 2 up. The black would become red. Okay? So it would shift to the left first, 3, and then you could go up 2. But if I were to write this as an equation, remember this is my normal equation, y equals x squared. Moving it 3 units to the left is going to look like this. 3 units to the left means opposite sign. So I'm going to put a plus 3. So I'm going to put the opposite sign. And then 2 units up is just going to be normal. 2 units up. See in the margin where you have all those lines? I need you to write the following thing in those lines. I'll put it in this little square here. If you move to the right, if it says move to the right, that means that it's going to be a negative number for H. Oh, and of course I write K. If it says to go left, like it just did, it's going to be a positive number for H in the parentheses. If it says to move up, and number 1 said to go 2 units up, it's going to be a positive K. If it says to go down, it's going to be a negative K. Put this in your margin on the left. Because your job is to read the directions on number 1, 3 left, 2 up, and then change it into an equation in Vertex form. All right. Got it written? Okay, number 2. We are to do 4 units to the right and 4 units down. So it's going to be like this. And you have to fill in the rest. So 4 units to the right. What will that be? 4 units to the right. A positive 4 or a negative 4?
Negative.
And if I'm going to go 4 units down, what's that going to look like? That one is negative 4. Okay, here's the original OG. It's called my parent function because it's just a normal parabola. 0, 0 is my vertex. It's not too skinny, not too fat. My parent function. That's like the one that we base everything off of. Here's what we just did. I'll do it in red. 4 units to the right and 4 units down. Like this, approximately. Okay? So that's how we're changing it. That's what's happening to our graphs. They're moving. And this is a picture of what it looks like when it moved. All right, let's go on to number 3. This isn't too hard. Go ahead and write your equation while I draw the parent function. So there it is. The parent function's in black. My new, like this direction, 7 to the right, 5 up, is my red. Can someone tell me what they wrote for the vertex form equation? David, go ahead.
Okay, y is equal to parentheses x minus 7 parentheses squared plus 5.
Woot woot. Good job. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Okay. All right, number 4. 2 units to the left and 1 unit down. I'm going to draw the parent function. You write the equation. My red is approximately, I think, accurate. All right.
I would like to
Go, sir, you go.
y equals parentheses x plus 2 parentheses squared minus 1.
Agreed, class?
Yes.
I agree as well. Good job. All right. Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory. We're done with that. Number 5. Write the equation in vertex form by completing the square. Identify the vertex H and K and A. Okay, we do not have to worry about an A unless my equation actually starts with something. So right here, my y equals x squared, there's just a 1 in front, so I don't have to worry about an A. All right, so let's start. Completing the square. Completing the square means the first step is to get the 71 over to the left side. We don't have any number to factor out in front, so we're not going to do that. Leave space. Okay. So there's that. Now I need to do, remember, b divided by 2 squared, and I add that to both sides. B divided by 2 squared. Well, b is what? 16. So I'm going to add 16 over 2, 8 squared to both sides. And let's write our 64s. Okay, so x squared plus 16x plus 64. The next thing that we can do is simplify our numbers, negative 71 and positive 64 on the left. Not 5.
7.
Okay. What is the number? Oh, it's the number that's in the parentheses. So what do I put in parentheses then? X plus 8. Final and last step to get it in vertex form. Add 7. What's my vertex? What's my H? What's my K? Negative 8, positive 7. My A was 1 because there's no number, leading the way. Great, let's go. Number 6. Hey, what's my A going to be here? Look at it. Is there a number in front? So it's 1. Your A equals 1. First job. Tell someone at your table what the first step is. Okay, now do that BS. Go.
Do you do the next step?
Ooh, leave space. Leave space, leave space. Tell someone at your table the number that you add to both sides.
5.
What's the number that you add to both sides? 1, positive 1?
Yeah, positive.
Negative 2 over 2. Well, it looks like that, right? And then you square it. Okay? Y plus 5 plus 1 equals x squared minus 2x plus 1. So I need to factor my perfect square trinomial. This is a perfect square trinomial. It becomes what in parentheses? Yeah, x minus 1. Am I going too fast for you?
No.
Okay. Last step. Thank you. Okay. What's my H and what's my K?
1, -6.
Positive 1. Perfect. And my A was 1. Okay, what's my A on this one?
1.
1.
Negative.
No, it's not negative 1. It's just positive 1.
I'll do this
Okay. So you should be solid now. Move the 46. Add b over 2 squared to both sides. Go ahead. Do that. Oh. All right, b over 2 is, so, Mr. Lee, b, negative 12, over 2 squared. Negative 6 squared, right? But negative 6 is the number that goes in parentheses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Are you just going on your own?
Yeah.
You don't need to wait for me because by this point, it's easier. Y minus 10 equals, remember the number that was in parentheses, that goes in the parentheses. The number that was in parentheses goes in our factored parentheses. Okay, last step, right? My H and my K. My vertex is 610. Cool. All right. The negative 1 just means that I move the negative 1 over to the storage area to begin with. Factor it out. So what's going to be hanging out over on the left side all the way until the very end
Divided by 9.
is y divided by negative 1. I don't need parentheses anymore. And the rest do. All right, that's where we are at so far. All right, here's the next few steps. And here is our final answer on the right, circled in blue. For this one, the negative 3 needs to be factored out first. Minus 8x plus 9. And then I'm going to move the negative 3 over to the left to the storage area because it's just going to hang out there. Until the very end when I have to make it my A. So my A is going to end up being negative 3. Funny how I look at it, and to start off with, my A is negative 3, and my answer will also have an A that's negative 3. It doesn't change. I just moved it from the left to the right. From the right to the left, excuse me. Subtract 9 both sides. If I'm going too fast, please always feel free to pause the video so that you can catch up to me. Negative 8 divided by 2 squared. This negative 4 is the number that's going to be in the factored parentheses for our H, where our H goes. All right, we're going on. Okay, minus 9 plus 16. Minus 9 plus 16. 7. Okay? And negative 4 goes in for my H.
How'd you get 9 again?
I got 9 because well, negative 3 divided by negative 27 is positive 9 at the top line.
Oh.
So, minus 7, both sides. So close, guys. So now the 7's there, and I need to, now that negative 3, that's my A, I'll do it in blue, times negative 3 here, times negative 3 on my A, and times negative 3 on my 7. Everything gets multiplied by negative 3. Final answer, up here. Y equals, my A is negative 3. I knew that because that's what it was when the equation was first written. Positive 21. Woo! Vertex. Positive 4, positive 21. All right, and we are finished.